Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Tovia. I'm going to be showing you guys how to make 7-Up pound cake. So I have here in my stand mixer 1 1/4 cups of butter that's at room temperature, and I'm using unsalted butter. And also I have 1/4 cup of shortening in here. And the reason why I'm going to be combining the two together is because the shortening will add moistness to the cake. So I'm just going to cream the two together. Just want to make sure those two are thoroughly combined before we add our sugar. So I'm using 3 cups of sugar, and I'm using Malina sugar. I love using Malina sugar. Of course, you can use uh, regular white sugar. So I'm going to cream the sugar and the butters together. So I just start off on low, keep everything from splashing up out of the bowl, and then just put it on medium. So I'm just going to let the two cream together until it's nice and creamy. This took about 5 minutes or so, but I'm going to stop the bowl and give it a scrape with a rubber spatula halfway between mixing time. So the butters and sugar's been creamed together for a while, so I'm going to be adding 5 whole eggs to this. I'm going to be using these farm fresh eggs that I got from my friend Claire. So we're going to put the eggs in one at a time. So I'm going to begin by just adding 1 egg, and I'm just going to let this go for about 30 seconds or so until everything is creamed together. So after 30 seconds, add another egg and continue to combine the two together. So my eggs and butter are finished creaming together, and I did scrape very often, and I can't stress enough how important it is to give everything a scrape. But I did give everything a scrape. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the 7-Up vanilla, lemon juice, and flour. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add about half of that flour. We're not going to dump all that flour in at one time. So that's half of the flour. And I'm just going to mix this together. And while this is mixing, I'm going to go ahead and measure my 7-Up. And you're going to need 2/3 cup of 7-Up. And I prefer using a can because it's not going to be flat. And that's very important because the 7-Up will help the cake rise. So you don't want to use flat soda. So the flour is all dissolved, and so I'm going to give everything a scrape. Just scrape the bottom of the bowl. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pour in my vanilla. So I'm using Bobba Gran's vanilla extract. It's alcohol free. Check them out in the description box. This is Mexican vanilla. And if you don't have Mexican vanilla, you can use regular vanilla. So that's 2 teaspoons of that. I have the juice from 1 lemon. And the lemon juice gives it additional acidity to help make the cake tender. Then I'm going to pour in half of the 7-Up. And I'm going to mix until everything is dissolved. Okay, once everything is combined, I'm going to add half of the remaining flour. And then I'm going to combine until all the flour is dissolved. And this is what you call alternating your dry ingredients. So you're going to do dry, wet, dry, wet, dry. You start with the dry and then end with the dry. This keeps your cake from being too heavy. So just until that flour is dissolved, give it a good scrape. If you're new to my channel, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the notification bells so you'll be notified of my uploads. I will be coming up with a schedule. I'll do a better job at being more consistent. So we're going to add the remaining 7-Up. And then we're going to pour in the remaining flour and then we're gonna let it go until it's dissolved. Okay, I have all the flour dissolved, and I'm going to give everything a scrape and mix it again for a few seconds. Then we're going to remove it from the machine. So I have my 9-inch bundt pan here, and I use shortening. I took a pastry brush and I did it, just really brush down into the crevices. The pastry brush will really help your cake. It will really help prevent your cake from sticking. So dust it with flour really good, and then I'm just going to fill my pan up here just halfway. I have my oven preheating at 350 Fahrenheit, and that will bake about an hour to about an hour and a half, or longer, just depends on your oven, longer or shorter, just until the cake tests clean with the cake tester. Now I would smooth my batter into the pan, never tap it, because tapping it will make all the air that you worked so hard for come out of your batter. So just smooth it around. So into the oven it goes for about an hour and 15 minutes, up to 2 hours. It just really depends on your oven, 350 Fahrenheit. I flipped it out the bump pan, and it did stick a little bit because I let it sit in the pan for too long. So after you pull out the oven, let it cool for 10 minutes and then flip it out and then it should stick to the pan. So I'm going to show you guys how to make the glaze. It's really easy. So I have here in my bowl about 2 cups of confectioner's sugar. So I'm going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla, and also a couple of teaspoons of lemon juice, along with a couple of tablespoons of 7-Up. So I'm going to just mix my 7-Up in slowly. I'm not going to add a bunch because you're really making this by feel. So I'm just going to pour a little bit at a time. So if you pour too much in there one time and it gets too runny, just add some more powdered sugar to thicken it up. So this is about the right consistency. So I'm just going to keep whisking until it's smooth. So this glaze will harden up. I actually allow my cake to cool overnight. So that way I know that the cake is completely cool. So after they're making the glaze, I'm going to show you the consistency. It should be thick, but still pourable. And I'm just going to go back and forth over my cake. And the good thing about this glaze, you can hide your mistakes with the glaze. So I'm not going to cut into this cake because I'm going to be serving this for the holiday. But I hope you guys try this recipe and enjoy it. And let me know how it turns out if you do make this recipe. I hope you guys have a safe holiday. And just check back in a couple of days because I'm going to be uploading a new recipe. Live and be well.